Okay, good evening and welcome to the Monday, October 14th, 2024 City Council meeting. 5 years as being the mayor, one of the things that we've tried to work on as a council is trying to build on what I was calling our hospitality infrastructure. That's focusing on restaurants and hotels and different amenities all the way down to EV chargers so that we can try to capture people as they're going through our community and, change our economy to be partially more focused on hospitality. And we're starting to see a lot of movement with that, with new restaurants like Casa Azteca and A&M Breakfast, as well as our hotels. So we're seeing a lot of improvements with that. But one piece of that I wanted to point out to you tonight was I received a couple of things over the last 2 weeks since our last meeting that I wanted to share with you. First off, I had received an email from an individual from Denver. He wrote, I was visiting Lamar from the 30th to the 3rd of Denver, from Denver. It was my first time exploring Lamar, quiet small town with some wonderful kind souls. Janice, for example, who works at Safeway on Olive Street. Her energy was positive, kind, loving, and in places like Denver, that's really hard to find. Can you please head over to Safeway and find Janice and give her love, kudos for the excellent customer happiness. I had a positive experience in Lamar. We left Wednesday morning and had tears in our eyes for leaving good-natured folks behind. Thank you to Lamar for our wonderful hospitality. And I wanted to share that because that's one of many that we received that we don't share with the public enough. The people that are working in our retail stores downtown on Main Street, these are our first line that people notice and talk to as they visit our community. So part of building on that hospitality infrastructure is also remembering, that these people that are visiting are also looking at our community from a magnifying glass, so to speak. We also had another situation last week where Ben Tracy, who is a leadership and a speaker who is taught, he's actually running across the United States from one end to the other, and he's doing a marathon through this, and he came through Lamar last week. We gathered the Lamar Police Department. I want to thank them for helping escort him through the community. And he just loved it. He, did videos. He really talked up Lamar. And, it was great to have the opportunity to work with him and support him as he passed through. I got the opportunity to meet him and sign his bus, but they just thought Lamar was wonderful. And it was about 2 days later that he called me and said, we're stuck in Kansas. I don't know what we can do. We don't have a car rental place anywhere. Is there anybody that can help? And at that time, I started texting people that were involved with meeting him. And Misty Dashner was there, and she stepped up and said, he can use my vehicle to go get the part in Colorado Springs that they need. So they met. She let him use his vehicle. They were able to go over there and get the part they needed to continue on their journey. And he was elated. I mean, just that kind of relationship and rapport. So I want to give kudos to Misty as well as to our Lamar Police Department for helping represent our community so well. Thank you very much for everything you do. Moving on, we will start our city council meeting with an invocation. We have Travis Horn here tonight for our invocation. Travis?
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we just come before you this evening, God, and as a citizen of Lamar, I'm so thankful to live here in this community, God, and just thankful for the blessings that we have and just a small, quiet town, Lord, and just so thankful for the opportunities we have with the rec department and different things in our community, and thankful for the small businesses, Lord. And I just pray this evening for our elected council members and the mayor, Lord, that you would just guide their discussion as they're civil servants and they're elected to this position. It's an important position that they serve in the community and make decisions that affect many people, Lord. I just pray you would guide them and they would remember their duty to put the citizens of Lamar first and their safety first, Lord, and just be with them and be with the things that will be discussed this evening. I pray for the upcoming national election that your will would be done in that. And just thankful for your blessings. I ask all these things in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Councilperson Jenkins, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:04 PM. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Shayla Mata. Here. Jerry Jenkins. Here. Kurt Cressman.
Here.
David Zavala.
Here.
Manuel Timmons.
Here.
Brett Bates.
Here.
Ron Evans.
Here.
Kristen Swartz. Here. Lance Clark.
Here. All right, we've all had a chance to review the agenda. I do have one item that we would like to add on the agenda. So for number 13, we need to approve a consulting service agreement with Warren Camp. He currently has a consulting agreement, is that correct?
Yes.
We're just looking at extending that or renewing it, so I would like to add that in on the last item of the agenda before miscellaneous, so number 13. And then we will move the miscellaneous to number 14 and the executive session to number 15. If that's okay with the council, I would just need a motion.
So moved.
Second that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other items or questions on this agenda? Seeing none. All those in favor signify with the aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. We do have two items that it looks like we need to removed and vote on separately. We have a motion, we have a check number 100436 for $6,537.69 to Gonzalez Unlimited. We would need to separate that out and do that as a vote separately with Councilman Gonzalez abstaining. And then we also have the liquor license renewal for A&B Liquor. And we would need to separate that out as well and have Jerry Jenkins or Councilman Jenkins abstain from that one. So can we get a motion for those? For the consent with those two minus.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with those two items separated out. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
All right. So let's do the check first. Do we have a motion for the check?
So moved. Second.
And this is for check number 100436 for in the amount of $6,537.69 to Gonzalez Unlimited, correct? For your motions?
Correct.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of with Councilmember Gonzalez abstaining.
All right, so next item would be the liquor store license renewal for A&B Liquor at 804 East Olive Street.
So moved.
Second.
So motion and a second to vote on that one separately. All those in favor signify with an eye. Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of with Councilmember Jenkins abstaining.
Okay. All right, now we'll move on to the public comment portion of this meeting. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of the council. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to a council on an non-agenda item tonight?
I had a question. I didn't get an agenda, so I don't know if it's on it or not. I had a couple questions on the ARPA money.
Okay,
I
if
don't
you'd
know.
like to come up
Sure.
and, yep.
Yeah.
you can ask.
And I just got 3 questions and then I'll hop down because I know we
Okay.
have 3 minutes.
So for the audience participation, they just asked for your address for the
Sure.
record.
Yeah,
Name and address.
name is Gabe Beard. I live in Lamar, Colorado, out in Corman. Question was, it was passed, correct? The resolution, the 120006, the one for the 350,000 to move to the general fund instead of.
In 2000, yes.
Right, okay, cool. I just want to establish that because I had I don't know why, but I had a lot of people asking me and I'm like, I have no idea. So the next one, movie. On the Powers County Journal, it said that we could expect some increases in electricity costs. Do y'all know what maybe per family or per bill, like the percentage increase that would be? And then is this amendment, I guess, to that resolution, something just for the 2025 year? Or is this something that's going to be taken from Lamar Light and Power for the foreseeable next? I don't know how many years are left on that agreement, but I know it was 26, I think. And then the next one, is there gonna be any more of that money, the 350,000? Is there ever gonna be anything used from that to help reduce the costs of electricity to each family member or members of Lamar? Those are my three questions, so. Thank you.
And I think that's part of what the discussion is later in the agenda.
Okay,
We
cool.
have a resolution amendment to discuss that, as well as to require an annual review of where those funds go.
Perfect.
It is a decision for the council to make annually, so rather than just automatically submitting it to one area or another, we wanted to put it to where the best use is for the community on each item. So
Okay,
we will have that discussion further in the meeting.
perfect. And that will include the percentage you think of how much it might go up for each family member?
You know, the percentage, I don't know all the details on that. It is, I know it will go up probably $2 or somewhere around there, but I don't have the
Okay.
exact figures.
Okay,
Each rate or each bill is going to be somewhat different.
Sure.
So
sure.
we'll have to look into that and get back with you, I guess.
Okay.
But-
Awesome. Right on.
All right.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council on an item that's not on the agenda? Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to reports and correspondence. Starting off with the city treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I wanted to let you guys know that we finally received a PO from the Colorado Parks and Wildlife for our grant that we had been awarded for the new fishing dock and the fish cleaning station out at North Gateway Ponds. It'll be in the middle pond. So they can proceed on that. That was $160,000 project, and we are receiving $120,000 from CPW on that project. And that will be completed by 12/31 of 2025. So Anthony has begun discussions with JVA. You guys approved a letter of agreement with them to be the engineers on the project. And so they'll get started on that project. So wanted to let you know that. And then I wanted to give you an update on Tyler. We've had a lot of work and classes and discussion. Tom and I have been completely involved in that. We've done our first pull from financial over to the Tyler people, and they're going through seeing how that's going to upload into the Tyler software. And tomorrow we're going to work on utility billing. So doing our first pull on that too. So just wanted you to know that that process is moving forward. We're looking at sometime probably towards the end of June of going live with financial. So it's just a lot of work. We have the training getting set up. Everybody will have individual training that they'll do on the pieces of Tyler that they will be using. So Tom's been working on a list for that and working on getting emails to Tyler, and so they can start reaching out to our employees and they can start getting signed up for some training on that. So I just wanted to let you know that that is moving forward. It's been very involved and very time consuming, and we look for that to continue for the next 12 to 18 months. So
I was told that the county is looking at switching to Tyler as well. So
you hadn't heard that.
that's what I was told recently.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you an update on that. And then did you have any questions for me?
I don't have any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on. We have the city clerk's report. Linda?
Okay, so our September sales and use report is, we collected $440,663.38, which was up 2.46% or $10,585.47. Our year-to-date collections are $4,192,861. Start over. $4,192,861.34, which is up 7.5% or $292,608.12.
Okay. All right, any questions for the city clerks? None? Thank you very much, Linda. Seeing none, we will move on to the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. So coffee with Rob this month will be at AM breakfast, 7 o'clock on the 16th, 23rd and 30th. Come out and I will help introduce you if you haven't been there before, but free coffee on me and we can talk about anything you want. Historic Preservation Workshop, Mondays, October 21st, 6 to 8 at the Big Timbers Museum. We have a Lamar Chamber of Commerce Moonlight Madness, Thursday, October 24th at 5 o'clock and lasts till 7. Let's see, I'll go through the top 2 that I have for my departments. And the library has a guided tour on Saturday at 10 a.m. At the Camp Machi. They also have a spooky time pajama story Thursday at 6 p.m. So if you guys want to come with the kids and wear your pajamas and they're going to tell spooky stories. Let's see, fire department, Fire Prevention Week, they had over 300 students. Where they gave out materials and gave some videos, and so well attended and a lot of excitement about that. Right at the old Savage Stadium, several Blackhawks. So 2 days here. No, he's not. But bottom line is they're keeping their skills to be able to bring in non-traditional landing sites, stuff like that. So it was good to see we have places like that. Let's see, Public Works. Well, streets, milling and paving. If you guys haven't seen that, a lot of places are closed up, but it's for a good purpose. And those streets are really good. I've driven over a couple of them afterwards. And they're you might have to worry about slowing people down because of how good those things are. They do a good job. Let's see.
Are they halfway through, a quarter of the way? Are they almost done?
Patter, we're almost done, right? We got like 2 weeks left.
Yeah, okay. Just curious.
Let's see, annual sewer cleaning. We do this every year, so it helps with our insurance. We make sure even ones that haven't had any problems, we go through and we want to keep up our rotation on annual sewer cleaning. And let's see, lead line service. There's a mandate we have to go through, and we have. I think we're starting that here tonight. We're going to be talking about that later. Parks and Recreation. Our biggest thing with Parks and Rec is Escondido rehab. So I know we're going to have the ability to talk about that here just a little bit. So I won't go into too much detail. The master plan kicked off. We at the Oktoberfest. We saw Ayers come up there and had a lot of good information about them. And IT. We talked a little bit about the Tyler handover. His 2 big things were software and hardware for that. We have a new website vendor for getting compliant with our ADA. So allowing us to become compliant with that will help us avoid some large fines. Let me see. Oh, they also are still doing some of our audit that we had not too long ago. They're doing some backup with the SAN compatibility. So I know that you would understand that, but maybe not of the rest of us. But they are still doing some remediation and finishing up the audit recommendations. And I guess I will give everybody a chance on any of those projects. I know we have quite a few we're going to talk about later, but if you guys have any questions? Ms. Jenkins? Or anybody else have any questions on any
I
projects?
have a question. I go around the pond a lot. And I'm just wondering about the dog park, what the holdup is. And I know you're working on this and doing that, but that's been.
Well, unfortunately, we have some news that may push it out just a little bit because we had to get a authorization to declare it an industrial reclamation, and it takes a while to do that. So we're ready to go. Oh, no, this is the archery range. I'm sorry.
No, you're
I was thinking.
So that was my excuse for why the archery range is. My excuse for the dog park was we have a lot, Escondido is our priority right now. We do have equipment. I mean, is that correct? That we're gonna get on the dog park?
Equipment should be in within a week or 2.
Mhm.
You want to lay the equipment down first and then the sod in the spring.
Okay, thank you.
But we haven't forgotten it.
Well, I just wondered.
Yep, no, we're good.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the city administrator? I don't have any. I was asked last week about the coffee with Rob. And they were
Yeah.
like, what is he doing with that? And why does he do it? And is it even worthwhile? And I said, you know, it actually is. And I was explaining that, but I wanted you to give you an opportunity to talk about that coffee with Rob and some of the experiences you had, just kind of briefly. I know
Yeah,
we-
briefly, I can tell you that it's actually a lot of fun sometimes. I always have considered it to be a tea kettle process to help out the city council. That if guys have a questions or only partial information, they come to me and they get a little bit more. And they sort of settle down and you don't come to a city council meeting and get after people. And usually it's good for the council. We don't have any hot topics that people are yelling and get confrontational. But in general, if people don't have all of their information, they want to be heard. They want to say, hey, I have these concerns. And I don't speak for all of you guys, but I can tell I have more to do with you guys than most. I can tell them what I can generally read. We've done this before in the council. If you come up with that type of request, in the past, they have passed it, so it might be successful. Somebody came up before and it didn't pass. So I sort of help them with their expectations and they don't come here all late. So in general, I do that for interface with the citizens and make sure that you guys get the best of them when they get it.
So it is a good working project and it is successful.
It's fun. We have a couple
Quite a
of
few people that engage.
circles of knowledge, like at the truck stop. We have a few places where there's a lot of regulars show up and it gets pretty funny sometimes. So good.
All right, any other questions for Rob before we move on? Seeing none, we will move on to the reports and correspondence from the council. Joe, would you like to start?
Sure, why not? The board did meet, golf board met last Tuesday. And, their two-shot, tournament went off and it was sold out and they partnered with the Elks to serve supper that evening and it turned out to be a great, tournament. They did have a pro hired at the time to run their pro shop downstairs, but he ended up quitting that same week. And so the golf board had a, special meeting that following Thursday and, to kind of give an update to their members as to what they're looking forward to in the future, what they're trying to do, and go from there. They're wanting to hold another meeting to raise the rates from 475 to 600. And they were taking ideas, and I thought it was a great productive meeting with the board, and our Parks and Rec director was there involved with it. My hats off to him because he brought a lot of great ideas to the board and to the meeting. And he's very active in that, and I'm thankful for that. And that's really what I have right now for city council at this time.
Okay. Shayla,
I do not have an update this evening.
Jeremy,
Public safety will meet on Thursday. That's when we meet at 4 o'clock, normal place at the library. I did want to bring up that I want to thank Ed and Carrie Herrera who came to Lamar and he brought to my attention about Officer Frisbee, who was killed in the line of duty for the Lamar Police Department, December 26, 1906. And we did go out and put a wreath and some flowers on there and they played the taps. So I would really like to thank Melissa from Thoughts in Bloom and Nikki from Skybell who came out and helped us put stuff together. I would also like to thank Deputy Rodriguez, Jaime Rodriguez, and Cassie from Peacocks that they came out and we did just a little memory of him. And so if any of you ever want to go by and put flowers on his grave, that would be awesome because he's on the north side, Riverside Cemetery, the corner closer to Neo Plan on the north or west corner, right on the west, southwest corner. But it was really nice. So just that's what we did over the weekend.
Carrie, if you don't mind, can I add something that slipped to my mind? I'd like to remind council that during the two-shot, JVA donated $10,000 to that tournament there.
Oh.
And that was a big help to them. Yeah.
great.
Yeah, so my hat's off to JVA engineering for.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you, JVA. Thank you, Andrew.
And those that don't know, JVA is our in-house or our
I'll call engineers.
And I do have one more thing, sorry. All of you who need to get your flu shots, COVID shots, public health will be having a tent out in front of the our building on South Main. Thursday from 9 to 5 and Friday from 9 to 12. You don't need an appointment, just walk in under the tent.
All right. David?
Well, I don't have anything at the moment, but we are coming up with a meeting for the planning and zoning. Because next Thursday, I think.
Okay.
Water board did not meet, but just as one of the reminders, our summer water restrictions, I think we're past that. And so we're not under the summer water restrictions. But as a reminder, if you have sprinkler systems, it's gonna freeze within the next couple of weeks. Make sure you get your sprinkler systems closed off in a timely manner, so you don't end up with a flood.
Brent?
PEP meets next Wednesday or Monday and LPI meets the following week. I just want to thank Martha again for all her incredible work over the few years I've been involved. It's been really great working with you, so good luck in your future endeavors.
All right. And I really don't have anything critical. A lot of what we're gonna be discussing will be later in the meeting, so. We will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the old business. We had agenda item number 1, which was to amend the resolution number 240401 to repeal section 6 of the donated leave and replace it with chapter 3, section 6 of the sick leave sharing program for the city of Lamar personnel handbook. We had met earlier for our work session to discuss this. And there are some changes that need to be made. So the discussion was to table this until our next meeting. Is that correct? So we would just, we
I'll
probably
make a
need a
motion
vote.
to table agenda item number 1. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye. Post same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right, so we will move on to the next item. New business. We're gonna have a little discussion about Escondido Park. There were some concerns brought up over the last couple of months. And over the last week or two, we've had those concerns come back up again, and we've been working to address them. I've asked Anthony to be here tonight, and I also asked the representatives from LCC, the Dr. Reyes, as well as Chet Tono, to come as well, because I wanted to bring this information to the public and let everybody know what we're working on and what we've been doing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll let you go ahead and give us a little timeline of what's been happening.
Okay, well, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Since August 5th, we've been meeting with Lamar Community College and their athletics program to learn more about the playability at Escondido Park and Escondido Field. It was on October the 3rd where we learned from the NJCAA Region 9, which is the National Junior College Athletic Association, that the field was deemed unplayable. And since then, we received the irrigation water test on Friday, October 4th. And prior to that, we had been getting several different test samples of the soil, because there's actually 3 to 4 layers of the soil that we're trying to get tested. We met with LCC staff on October the 7th. And October the 9th, we ordered another core evaluation of Escondido soil. This one is the deep root testing, the composition test, and the organic matter. And on October 10th, Eric, who had been working with us for a while from Colorado Golf and Turf, recommended Larry to us, because after Larry is a consultant who's been doing this for about 35 years, and a very similar problem, which happened on the western slope in one of their cities that he was able to fix. And since then, we've met with Larry on a day-to-day basis. We recently met with LCC and Community State Bank on Friday. And today we signed all of our parks and cemetery employees up for a training through Larry to understand a little bit more in depth about the turf and the grass. And Larry will be coming to do a site visit on Friday. And on the 24th or 25th of this month, A Region 9 representative is tentatively going to come to Lamar and meet with the professionals. So at that point, we will know exactly what we need to do to get the field ready. And I just want to reiterate that the construction of this field is a partnership between the city of Lamar, between Lamar Community College, and between Community State Bank. And we are in a position where we feel like we have all of the information and all of the pieces together to help assist the student athletes to getting back on the field and to getting them back to playing soccer here in Lamar.
Now, I know this was brought up, like you said, in August originally, and we had a work session to discuss it with the council. And then shortly thereafter, we actually had you up at one of the council meetings to discuss it as well. So I'm saying this because I want the public to know that we've been aware that there's been issues over the last couple of months. And we've been taking steps, and Anthony's done a great job taking steps and trying to remediate some of these issues that we're finding, as well as finding resources to help you get that. And that's part of what we're doing today, right?
Yes.
So you have an individual with you on that's online on our Zoom call?
Yes.
Did you want to add anything, or?
Larry, did you want to say something, please?
No, just kidding. Yeah, I'm just here to observe. No, I'm Larry Musser. I work out of Colorado Springs. I have been doing consulting work on athletic fields for 35 years. I work all over the country. I have been doing seminars on how to maintain the athletic fields all over the United States for 35 years, and that's how I find my clients. Many of the people who see my webinar, my seminar, end up hiring me to design new fields from the bottom up or to correct bad ones. The city that he was referring to was the city of Durango, and the contractor that built that beautiful 10-acre sports complex did everything completely wrong. And fortunately for the city, they took pictures of everything that was done, and the field was unplayable, water standing all over it. And Anthony can show you the I sent to him my assessment of that and how to fix it. Anthony contacted me through Eric. I've done a lot of work with Eric as well. He's a supplier. But anyway, long story short, I don't want to say too much about what needs to be done here, and because I haven't looked at it yet. I have looked at the water samples. I've looked at at some of the soils. I haven't looked at Wyoming a lot, but I can tell you that the is very salt intolerant. And so what happens is you've already got some accumulation in the soil of enough sodium that it will prevent. It's difficult if you're trying to grow a new seed. That salty water will prevent the germination of a lot of that grass seed. It won't come up that well. So it's probably a good idea to look at possibly sodding it. But there's a couple options. One, I've also got a gentleman coming to visit with me Friday. This gentleman is with a company called Green One Industries out of Denver. They came to me 45 years ago, 40 years ago, and he and a partner, and they wanted to be in the business of building athletic fields because one of them was a landscape contractor for residential and the other commercial. And so I work with them all this time now, almost 40 years. They have gone way past me. They do on a national level, they do golf courses, professional stadiums, but he's based out of Denver and the best in the market. They went to Europe a number of years ago and to a show, brought home some machinery that they don't see in the United States normally. So, but I've had him as a tool in my arsenal to be able to do some unusual things to fix some unusual fields. There's one option on the table here, what they call no-till renovation. In other words, we have three options here. One is this no-till I'm talking about. Another one is going in, ripping it up and starting over. The third one is plant dynamite every 10 square feet and let her fly, So, but this no-till renovation is a possibility if the site is not, if the grades aren't real bad. In other words, if there's not undulations out there. But the other thing that enters into that is what's below that. And because if we just do the top only, and we got heavy clay right below that, in other words, we do 6 or 8 inches, but you got a clay barrier below that, you could have water standing on that barrier if you get much rain. I know you don't get a lot of rain, but the other issue is that salt, we need to address that sodium in your well. And I do understand that you have availability of city water there, but not enough. I mentioned to Anthony, there's a possibility, there's a product on the market. Again, I told him I don't sell products. I get paid for my hours for my work. There's a product, again, a tool in the arsenal that we can put fertigation on this site. Fertigation is where you inject fertilizer through the irrigation system. If you got head-to-head coverage on the irrigation system, which we can make sure that, but basically you can add this product to the water and it ties up the sodium in the well, and it also carries the sodium that's in the soil down and out. So that would make a big difference, just keep it in there and using the well water. But the other option is a product that actually can save up to 50% water usage. They water this product in, it sticks to the root hairs of the turf. It actually draws moisture to it and holds on to it. Whereas water in the soil either evaporates up or percolates down. It doesn't stay there unless it's, compacted clay. And that might allow us, at least during a growing period, to put seed down rather than sod, using city water to maybe grow it in, but possibly even using city water from that point forward. And for cities that I've done assessments for, we plugged in this water saving product just for one or 2 feet. Any place where they're using irrigation water, dramatic savings in water usage, which I'm sure sounds good to you guys as well. So I would be probably recommending that anyway, no matter what else we do. But I'd be glad to answer some questions for you.
I think the main thing is we wanted to make sure that this is a project that we can recover from, and if you feel like it is something that we can hopefully recover from in the next few months or within the next by spring, I guess is what we're looking for.
Right. Yeah, there's I haven't found one yet. I'm sure there's probably a project someplace that can't be fixed, but this is certainly not one of them. And the downside is that we're close enough to dormancy that we really can't put sod down now or seed down. I don't believe, unless if we happen to have some warm weather clearing in November, we might be able to, but we don't know that's going to happen. And so basically we can do some work on it now. Ryegrass comes up real quick, and ryegrass is more salt tolerant. We might be able to put some ryegrass out there just to keep it from washing away in the wintertime with the snow, and then do it in the spring. But anyway, a lot of options there. I just need to look at all the data first.
Okay, we appreciate your help on it for sure. Anthony, did you want to add anything else before we move on? And I wanted to bring up Dr. Reyes and Mr. DeBono if we could as well. Because as a major partner, and it's a major concern for us as a city that we provide a playable surface. And our goal when we first created this bill and expanded upon it was to do a partnership with the college and make sure that we can expand your college programs. So
absolutely. Good evening. It's good to be in your presence and to be with all of you, administrators, elected officials, mayor. Thank you so much. And for everyone who's listening online as well. This definitely is a partnership. And I want to commend those of you that were involved 3 years ago when this came to life. You came together, not just as elected officials, but members of the community, leaders at the college, some that are still within our community, some that were there, and make this possible, which really has been a blessing to our school and to our students. Many, many students have benefited from Escondido Park. And so for that, I am very grateful. And this is not unique to Lamar Community College. Many other community colleges in our system also have a similar partnership within their cities. So to us, this has been a blessing and will continue to be. So thank you for that support. It has been disappointing, obviously, for our students and for some of our staff to not be able to finish our season. But I am encouraged by the collaboration that we have found in the city again and the leaders of this community that are looking for the solutions and finding ways that are viable for us to continue. Thank you for that. I see the commitment. We have several meetings where we are not only talking about remediating the issues right now so that we can get on the field in the spring, but how do we make it a lasting repair so that we're not facing the same issues in the future? I'm also very encouraged by the fact that we are seeking the expertise of people who do this, who are here in our community or beyond and able to really inform how we do these repairs. And in addition to that, to include our Region 19, so that Region 9 of our athletic conference so that we can do the repairs and the expectations that they have for our field. All of that is going to improve what we do and continue to really enhance the facility. But again, I don't take away from the fact that it has been disappointing, and I agreed 100%. But I think that we need to measure this by the response that we're having collectively to really improve and make things a lasting improvement beyond what we're facing today. And so I thank you for that support. I thank the administration of the city for really looking at this. And again, I don't want to lose sight of what this park has done for the college and for the students who were able to academically prepare beyond just the time that they've been with us. That has happened, and it has made a significant difference. So thank you for that. And I'm hoping that we continue to do this and do it in excellence.
And even in my emails in discussing this, the council and I were committed to making sure that this project continues. It's not a project that we plan to abandon at any point. Is that fair to say, everybody? Almost certainly. Certainly.
Thank you.
So, the commitment is here with the city of Lamar to continue. Even with our ball fields, it took some time to get them where they are today. And I think this Escondido Park is a complex for, different events. Will take some time to get it leveled out, but I think we can continue to work towards it.
It's great. Thank you for that. And I will say we have been already working in opportunities to find external funding to continue to enhance our athletic fields. And we look forward to continue to be a partner in that endeavor as well. We recognize that resources are limited, but we have the commitment. And so just know that we will continue to be a partner in that.
I have a question.
Yes.
How often, so when you start the season, is it by game that they determine if the field is playable or not? Or is it done at the beginning of the season, reviewed in the middle of the season, or is it every game it's reviewed, said, hey, field is playable or not playable? Do you know how that is?
100% I don't know. I'm looking to Vice President DeBono, who might be able to speak a little more in details on that.
Well, thank you. Good question. It's done right before the game. And unfortunately, we don't have the say in that. The athletic director and even the city doesn't have a say in that. It's the official and it's the head official that makes that call. But when we meet with the Region 9 representative later in the month, they're going to determine what we're doing, how it's going to enhance the field. But again, playability and safety happens right before each game by the lead official. Okay.
My other question would be, in the event, is there a way to, instead of just, not being able to finish the season or have gaps, to have possibly already, obtained away games, increasing that amount, saying, you know what, we're not able to play here. We're, working it out with the other opponents to play on their fields. So that way we don't have to eliminate the season or portion of the season.
Absolutely. That's actually what happened in this situation. As soon as we were formally notified, we immediately contacted the other schools that students were going to be playing against. We also explore the possibilities of any other fields that we could rent and be able to use, even if it was closer to us. And we try to really move very quickly to try to resolve it. The season was finished. Our students were able to finish their seasons, so we were not, they were not impacted in that manner. And it took some additional resources to get there, but we were absolutely glad to be able to do that. The disappointing piece is that it didn't happen. It didn't end here, but we absolutely make sure that it ended.
And, there was a couple of items I wanted to just share. Is the reason why we're trying to meet with the Region 9 representative is so that way we can get those metrics of what are the expectations? Because for Anthony, it's, his idea of a good field and a perfect playable field may be different than this Regional 9 representatives. So we wanted to get those metrics and find out exactly what. So before we get to a game, we can go out there and make sure that all those check boxes are met. So I think that's going to be a huge part of this process.
And I also commend you, Major, because you're seeking to keep someone engaged, to continuously not only train your staff to be informed, but also to continue to inform what we do to maintain the field. So that really is going to help in the long term. So thank you for that. I also want to say thank you to people who from the community who reached out with support, with ideas, and really being concerned about our students. I really deeply appreciate that. Thank you. It is another reflection of this wonderful community in which we're in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know that was a conversation I had with a few individuals from the community who was interested in creating a committee that would help do some volunteer work. And we can talk about that more as we go, but developing that action committee to go out and help, put some effort into it and hopefully help us improve the park as we move ahead. Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Did you have any questions, anybody on the council?
I don't have any. Thank you, guys.
May I make a
Thank you.
suggestion for you? May I suggest something, Mayor?
Yeah.
This project, this webinar that Anthony has got 14 people joined to watch it on Thursday. The whole point is that all over the country for this last 35 years, the soccer and now lacrosse and rugby, all these different sports have come on so strong. The amount of wear that takes place on this turf is so dramatic that it takes a huge effort to keep up with the maintenance of it. And what I find all over the country in my assessments that most places, the wear level now is wear level 5 or 6 out of 6, but maintenance level 1 or 2. And that basically means unsustainable turf over time. What I can tell you right now is that we'll put together a package, a recommendation for you, if it's done, and then Anthony is able to increase, do the maintenance techniques that are recommended. You will have viable turf all the time. Now, I can't say you're not going to have 4 foot of water out there and then and cause something like that. But my point is, you will have turf maintained at a high level from now on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you all. And Anthony, I want to say one last thing, if I may. Back in August, when you first came in here, we had that work session. I know I was pretty hard on you as well as some of the council. We take this very seriously and it was a major investment for our community. So, we wanted to make sure that we got this repaired. And I just want to say that when you have situations like that, there's those individuals that kind of close up, or there's the ones that step up to the plate. And I want to commend you for stepping up to the plate and keeping this moving and making it better. Thank you.
Thank you. And no hard feelings, Mayor. And it's what you guys are here to do is to hold us accountable as well as Rob. And I'm humbled and honored still to be here. But I wanted to add that we do have a point in our master plan where there is going to be a community engagement at Escondido Field. And we're going to wait until the field is complete and we will have it then. And that'll be a celebration.
Well, thank you very much. And I appreciate your ongoing support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the presentation of the 2025 proposed Lamar Utility Board's budget to the City Council. This is being presented by Hussein Uri, our superintendent for LUB. Hussein?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. The proposed Lamar Utilities Board budget for 2025 determines the revenue requirements needed for electric retail rates consisting primarily of transmission, distribution, and wind power generation activities. The budget includes total revenue in excess of 16.1 million, 14.4 million from retail electric sales, and the remaining primarily from wind turbine production. The 2025 budget is proposing total operating expenses of 15.1 million, which includes 9.4 million for power supply. Additional expenditures include 1.5 million for personnel costs, 2.8 million for repairs and maintenance, charter appropriation of $1,698,186, which is the full 12% of retail sales as allowed by the charter. 1,293,000 in capital outlays, which include 100,000 contingency funding, 435,000 in substations and distribution line work, 175,000 for wind turbine parts, 105,000 for vehicles, and 478,000 for miscellaneous and other equipment that include the completion of the advanced metering infrastructure, system smart meters upgrade, 4 kV feeder protection relays upgrade, and distribution system transformers. The proposed 2025 budget reflects costs of maintaining Lamar's wind turbines, electric distribution, substations, and transmission systems. We are continuing our effort in exploring options to improve electric system reliability and resiliency by planning and implementing system upgrades that will improve our system efficiency. We remain focused on our mission. Lamar Light and Power will continually strive to provide reliable power at competitive rates to all consumers and businesses we serve throughout Broward and Bent counties. We will provide professional service through a commitment to excellence and work to maintain Lamar and the surrounding area as vital, progressive communities. That's an overall summary of our proposed budget.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? I know they had sent out or we received a printed copy of the budget. Here, I don't know if you had any questions before we move.
Just a general question. I mean, in research and development, you know, looking into new ways and better ways to utilize the energy sources that we have, you know, what avenues do you use for that, for research and development, looking into better ways or newer products that are there?
Well, we're a member of different affiliation. One of them is IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. I'm a member of Association of Electrical Engineers and Energy Engineers. And then we're a member of Rocky Mountain Electric League. So between all that, we meet quarterly. We share information about products and what's good and what's bad, and we avoid it. And then we build on that. So that's how the approach we take. We don't want to be the guinea pig.
Okay. Any other questions for Hussein?
I don't have any.
Anybody else?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much for your
Hussein.
time.
All right. We will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our budget hearing. We have our budget hearing for the 2025. And we will open it up for public comment as well. So during this hearing, this gives. I'm sorting through my papers here. So we'll start off with we need a motion to move into the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a motion with Councilman Jenkins and a second with Councilman Mata. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay. So now that we've opened up the public hearing, I'm gonna turn it over to Kristen to do the staff presentation for this.
So this is part of the budget process that's required by state statute and also by our city charter. We're to hold a public hearing on the budget before October 15th of each year. So this gives an opportunity for the public to view the proposed budget, which has been on display at the clerk's office since September 27th. All of the notices were published and posted as required by law. And so we are having this hearing to let the public comment on the proposed budget and ask any questions that they might have.
Okay. All right, so everything, and you did give us copies of the notice of the paper, so we do have the public notices. So anyways, I think we will move on to opening the floor. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor or against the budget in the audience tonight? Nobody? Okay, seeing none. I will close the floor for discussion, and now I'll open it up for questions and clarification from the council. Do you have any questions on the budget as proposed? Nobody? Okay. Well, then I would just need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Okay.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right. So we will have the first reading at the meeting. I believe it's looking at which item that is.
And I think it's item number 11.
Item number 11. So we'll have an ordinance reading for this budget, and then we'll, as the first reading, then we'll come back for the second reading at the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that takes care of our budget public hearing. Next item on the agenda is to adopt resolution 2410-01, amending resolution 24901 to add requiring the city council to annually review and determine the specific allocation or appropriation of the $350,000 that was given to the, or awarded to the city of Lamar for the ARPA settlement. There's been a lot of questions over the last week or so that, or last couple of weeks, as far as our decision to take those funds from the, or putting them back into the general fund. So when we won the lawsuit from ARPA, those funds were given to the city of Lamar over the next, I can't remember how many years that was.
26 years.
26 years. So every year there's a payment of $350,000 to the city of Lamar. That began in 2017, or was it 18? I think the first payment was 18. 19. So the first payment was in 19. And that'll last for 26 years. We had automatically, at the time, had put it towards the Lamar Light and Power. And many discussions have happened over the last 6 years where the option was, do we continue to just put it in with Lamar Light and Power, or do we use it in areas where it may have a bigger impact for our community? The intent was to lower utilities and to lower the cost burdens onto community members. And it was placed into that, you know, out of our general fund and moved into wherever where to the Lamar Light and Power as far as a contribution to there. The council voted to pull that back into the general fund and reutilize that and repurpose those funds. Some of the discussions we've had so far are concerning our wastewater treatment plant. We've had discussions about our increase in salary costs since 2023. We pulled the numbers on our actual cost for employee benefits and payroll. In 2021, our overall expense for employees and payroll citywide with 104 employees, actually it was about 97 employees, 96 employees in 2021.
Full-time. We had
Full-time.
part-time and seasonal on top
So
of that.
full-time employees back in 2021, our dollar amount that we were budgeting in was $4.8 million. Since then, we've only added 10 full-time employees since 2021. And now in 2025, our upcoming salary and benefit cost is $7.2 million. And that jumped substantially in 2023 when there was an increase in the minimum wage. And then we had to do some, our salary survey to justify where we were at paying our employees. So we do have a pretty significant increase in wages and wage costs and benefits. Between 2023 and 25, it was even 5.9 million compared to our current 7.2 million. So you can see that it jumped significantly since 2023. Now, those are coming out of our general fund, which our general fund does not create any more general revenue other than what we get out of our sales tax revenue. So with that in mind, I wanted to bring this up to the council. My recommendation was to create this resolution to require that where they would like to put these funds for the year to best support the community's efforts in moving forward. Do we want to open up discussions and let you guys talk about this, see what you think?
One of my thoughts is just having that discussion coincide with budget meeting, so that's probably best time.
Yes.
To make that, we would coincide it when we're having our actual budget meetings, be to best determine usage.
I would agree. So it should be part of the budget process when we do our budget hearings and our budget.
That would be great.
Yes, I would agree with that. Brent, do you want to add anything or are we?
I think that's a great recommendation. I agree. It should coincide with budget work sessions and budget planning time. That's all I want to add.
Anybody over here?
I'm also in agreement. I think it's a great idea to do that at the same time we're doing the budgeting. And to let the public know how we're allocating those funds. And just showing the transparency in what we're doing with these funds here. I think it's a great idea. We move forward with it.
Okay. So we have pulled that back in for the 25 budget. Is that correct? So we would be assigning that in the 25 budget. So we need to make that determination now or in next year's budget season. How would we do that?
That's up to you, how you want to handle it. Yeah.
Next year's budget. We wouldn't even see any payout till December of 25.
Because there is a payment already for December of 24.
Yes.
So the next payment is December of 25. So it won't actually be in effect until December of 25. So we would just need to determine. Is that correct?
So for 2025, my intention is to help cover the cost of our capital improvements, which include the fire truck and ambulance payments, some things like that, to help cover the cost of that so that we can go ahead and move forward with our capital improvement plan.
Okay, just to clarify, since I just want to make sure I understand this. The next payment from last year, from this current year's budget of 350,000 gets paid on December of this year. And that goes until December of next year. So that covers that year from December of this year to December of next year, correct? So am I understanding that correctly?
That is when we prepare the check and deposit it to like.
So any changes to people's electrical bills will not be seen until January of 26.
That's gonna be completely up to the Light and Power Board, how they want to handle that. There's some other things that are being factored into that.
Yes.
January 25th, you'll see it. We didn't collect it this year. So we get 350. This year will be the last payment in December, made to Light and Power. We didn't collect it. Starting January, we be getting the full 12%. So you will get the 350.
Okay.
December will be transferred.
Okay. So
The last time.
December would be the last transfer.
Yeah.
They would see the effect of the increase within in January.
January, you will see the increase. We're not gonna.
Now, I know in 2020, there was also the rate study that was done in 2020 that approved, and they approved the 5-year plan for the rate increases. Now, my understanding is that will happen in January as well, the last of the 5 years. Is that right? No.
One year left, but your 350 does not go into our rates. I
Okay.
mean, it does go, but it's side. It's a pass through. And we don't touch it in a way.
Okay.
So our budget stays like it is.
Well, I was just asking if there would be an increase for that last year in January as
From the
well.
rate study.
From the rate study or not?
No, there will be a rate that I have it.
Okay.
There will be only the service charge
Okay.
and service charge is gonna go $19 national. That's the major one. It's gonna go from $19 to $20.75.
Okay.
$1.75. So people can budget that.
Okay.
We did, when we had the rate hearing, people were complaining, well, I can't budget. And just if we go up and down.
Right.
So we took that in mind and we said, okay, but the rate's gonna stay the same.
Okay.
Well, 5 years and it did. But the service charge gonna go up.
Okay.
And you can see $2, $1.75, so they could budget for that.
Okay. Okay.
So the reason I asked that is I wanted to point out, you just mentioned that they won't see a change in their bill until January of next year. So any increases they've seen this year are not because of this change that we saw a lot on things on social media. August to September, my bill went up this much. It must have been because of this resolution. I just want to clarify that the resolution will not affect their bill until January. For residential household, you thought it would save them
It depends on the usage.
Okay.
On average, will go from 2
Average per person and increase.
for a business, it could be more.
Okay.
So we've seen it go up anywhere from 600.
It's relative
2,000,
amount of the bill.
Hours they use.
Okay. All right.
Thank you,
Okay,
doctor.
Thank you very much. All right, so that was kind of the concept, is to place it in here. And I think, you know, we have some major projects coming up with that wastewater treatment plan. You know, we've talked about economic development a lot over the last few years. And one of the things that was brought up is, where is our current bottleneck as far as moving into the future, and where is our biggest bottleneck? And that is our wastewater treatment plant. You know, it's gonna be a $34 million project that we are going to be needing to look at increasing rates on the wastewater and water side. We do have some later, and, you know, right now, we're not in a place where they're ready to utilize those yet. Is that correct? Because we're waiting for grants
For
to
the,
utilize that funds with the wastewater treatment.
so we've got 2 grants. We're in design and engineering phase right now.
Okay,
So we did get 2 grants, no city match
Okay.
on those. So
So
we
that's
were able
moving
to
forward
move
as well.
forward with the $2.5 million worth of design and engineering and environmental clearances.
okay.
So that will be happening starting in 25.
All right, so with that in mind, we're moving forward with wastewater treatment. We're moving forward with some of the others. Our biggest expense right now is I know with wages and salary increase that we affected this year, we're looking at difficulty in doing our capital improvements, and our capital improvements were 347,000 for the year.
Yes, sir.
I know when you first brought it in, it was like 1.2 million, so I know, glad you guys cut it back. Thank you very much for tightening it down to as tight as you could. I know all the department. So your recommendation is to apply it this year towards the capital improvements that are needed
Yes,
to
sir.
get us through for the year.
Yes.
And then next year, we would look at another area to place it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it would be up to the council what you would like to do. I just wanted to give this opportunity. I do think that we could do this resolution as stated, where we're going to review it annually and place it to the best benefit of the community. Do 2 items on on our motion. If we do a motion, one would be to adopt the resolution, and the second would be where you would like to place it for this year. If someone would to do that. Well, we need to say where you want to put it, and then we want to approve the motion. So we got that, or
Accept the budget.
okay.
24-10-01.
And did you want to assign the funds for this year, or
Those are capital improvements.
for the capital improvements? Okay,
Second.
all right, so we have a motion and a second.
Just want to add one thing that 350 is a result of a settlement agreement with ARPA.
Correct. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's Shayla and Manuel.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay, so during the budget process time, we will go through and review that again next year as well, and we'll continue to do that annually for the best benefit. Okay, next item on the agenda is permission to apply for the Victims Assistant and Law Enforcement Grant for 2025. That is the VAIL grant. This initiative. Tess?
Good evening. We're asking for permission to apply for the VAIL, which is the Victims Assistant Law Enforcement Grant. This is a grant that we apply for every year. It's the district Attorney's Office. These funds would be used to provide Victims' Rights Act notification to crime victims of their rights and resources in the community. It also pays for part of Chief's administrative assistant salary. This year we'll be requesting $20,221 for the 2025 grant year. And if given permission, this would be presented to the Vail board on November 12th, 2025 by the administrative assistant.
And this is a grant that we apply for every year. And actually Chief Fear and Colleen are gone to a COVA conference right now. So to information that we've gathered from the two of them, so.
And we've done this every year pretty much.
We absolutely have, yes. Yes.
So it's pretty standard.
Have the mayor sign that application once Colleen has it.
To apply for the Vail grant and allow the mayor to sign. So second. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Yes.
Thanks,
Yes. Next item on the agenda is award bid for lead line service inventory project. This is initiated by Pat Mason, our Public Works Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So as Rob alluded to a little bit earlier, one of the things that we've been working on in water wastewater is this mandate to develop basically a lead service line inventory. And so this is one of the first steps towards that process that working towards coming up with. So we did receive a grant from CDPHE earlier this year for this project, and it was $63,000. So we did receive two bids. One was for 180, 338. The other one was for 175, 340. The low bidder was Recon Holdings LLC. So the two bids were pretty competitive. Recommended it would be awarded the bid to Recon Holdings for a low bid price of $175,340. And then I'd like to add to that to allow the mayor to sign off on the forthcoming agreement once we issue notice of award. Pending Lance's approval of the language.
It's definitely mandatory.
Was there a timeline on getting it completed?
So the timeline to actually complete the inventory is into next year, actually, but our grant actually expires December 31st, I believe. So we need to get moving as far as the grant's kind of what's pushing it right now to try to get this done before the grant runs out, so. So, and it's kind of a tiered thing. We've already received some help actually from CDPHE. They put out a bid and they hired their own actual technical engineer to help a lot of communities. We had to apply for that as well, actually, but we got free technical assistance that helped work us through the very first piece of this on paper. And so this is like the second step. And then after that, I believe it's a 5-year process. You know, we'll determine what's out there and how to deal with it. And hopefully there'll be more grants forthcoming next year and the years after where they'll actually help come and replace those and pay for material and replacement. Okay, so this is the baseline. Now we want to try to establish an inventory, so to speak. So
Is there quite a bit, you think?
you know, I don't think so, honestly. This bid will actually cover 250 potholes. So I'm confident there's less than 250.
All right. Okay. Any other questions from the council?
I just got one question. Yeah, we'll be able to pull money from the estimated will be for the project.
So we have it budgeted in the water fund itself, and that
Okay.
comes from, you know, the services that the water provides and the revenue that we take. So we budgeted a match for that.
Perfect. Thank you.
A motion to award the bid to Recon Holdings and allow the mayor to sign.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Pat.
Next item, number 7, joint ownership agreement for 10112 South Main and amendment to city roads agreement brought to us by our community development director, Anne Marie Crampton.
Good evening. Yes, so most of you are very familiar with the Main Cafe project where we're trying to renovate, rehab 114 South Main. It has half of the upstairs is 112 South Main's upstairs. So in order, excuse me, in order to start this project, I feel like we've been doing it for decades. The first thing we need to do is deal with an asbestos spill and abatement. To do that, fully to apply for an EPA cleanup, brownfield cleanup grant, we need to physically own 112 before we apply for the grant. When we were going through the motions of how to do that, we realized it's a very, very complicated process because of this. It's one building, but two parcels, two ownerships. And it'll take a longer process of creating a condominium agreement between home and season owners, actually 112 South Main owners, the Main Cafe first floor, and then the second floor being its own condominium, before we can actually physically transfer all of the property to the city. With that said, Lance, my best friend, and I have been working diligently on an amendment to the initial agreement with the roads that was approved by you in May. And then with a joint ownership agreement where we're just agreeing to own 112 South Main. When the condominium agreement is complete, then we will abolish the joint ownership. We'll end up with it upstairs, and they will retain their downstairs ownership. So it is has a finite length of time.
So I know this started off as a URA project. I guess I'm just curious on the ownership. Is it
The city owns the building.
the city owns the building?
City owns the
The
main.
URA
cafe.
is doing the renovation.
The URA is contributing to
Okay.
all of things Main Cafe.
Okay.
550,000 is what you agreed to. So
Okay.
we're using it as we go along through the process for grant matches and legal stuff that's going on. So the city of Lamar physically owns the Main Cafe and needs to enter into this agreement so the city of Lamar can apply for the EPA grant.
And we did get a $50,000 CDPHE cleanup grant, but that was just a slice of what we need.
And so what we're using it for is the spill. We identified that as a piece of it. So we're going forward with that, the spill. And then this EPA grant we're applying for is to take care of the abatement of the rest of it.
Okay, and that just needs to be done, or we need to own it all before we can get started with
So
the
we
next
had to have
step.
some type of ownership agreement of the 112 upstairs piece
Okay,
before we could go forward and get the whole thing.
And EPA has already said we don't have to have full ownership of it. So you'll notice that we're owning 33% of 112, and the roads will retain 67%. They have read these agreements and have no concerns.
And you've given us permission to apply for that EPA grant, which is due November 14th. So this is just part of that process. We're currently working, Tess has started the application. Anne Marie and Ayers, are working on their piece of it, and I'm working on my piece of it. So we're actively working on that grant application, but we had to get through this step as well to be able to finish that application.
okay. All right, any other questions from the council?
Just one question, Lance, I'm assuming you're okay with going on here, have you had a chance to review all that?
I've had a chance to work on it a few times. It's went back and forth between Anne Marie and myself and it obviously. So first, it's an amendment to that original contract, trying to clarify that instead of just having the second floor deeded, that we're actually going to do a joint ownership. Once the city has the appropriate condominium agreement and documentation ready to proceed, we'll notify Rhodes. Rhodes has 60 days to sign a deed over to us for the second floor. And then we can proceed with a condominium agreement or some other type of form. But so the amendment kind of clarifies the overall changes from that first agreement. The joint ownership agreement kind of deals with some other aspects, maintenance, those types of things, liability. Obviously, we're joint owners with a third party at this point. We have one building, we're 33% owners, they're 67% owners. So it just tries to work through some of those details. Obviously, with the I think both parties have the same goal of needing to get the abatement going on that upstairs and on the main cafe. So it tries to achieve that in the interim time while we try to work on a condominium agreement.
Thank you, Lance. I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the city roads agreement, joint ownership agreement and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on this. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Thank you, Anne Marie. All right, next item on the agenda is appoint member to the Arkansas River Power Authority Board of Directors. With Roger Stagner becoming a county commissioner, he has resigned from the ARPA board effective 8/13/2024. Did you want to speak on this at all on that or?
Yeah, thank you, Roger, for this time, and Jay has applied. He's a board member. I think you'll be a good board member.
So Jay Brooks is a board member on the Lamar Utility Board. He's been very active in the community as well. He has applied to be the ARPA Board of Directors and would replace Roger Stagner's. So this is the recommendation from Lamar Utility Board is to appoint Jay.
Make a motion to appoint Jay Brooks.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Both same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, moving right along, we have the next item, which is appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. This was initiated by Stephanie Struby, our public building official. Sorry.
Okay. As you said, this is for appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. This opening when Clifford Boxley resigned from his 5-year term that expires on February 1st of 2027. It left an opening since October of 2023. It has been advertised multiple times over the year, including most recently September 6th, 13th, 20th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. We did receive one application from Rod Dunn. We met with Planning and Zoning and there is a letter attached that the Planning and Zoning Commission would like to recommend Rod Dunn for being on the board. He has been a contractor in the area for many years and also works with LCC on their construction trades. Thank you. I was having a lack there. So we feel he'd be a great fit for Planning and Zoning.
Okay. Council?
I know that we put Rod Dunn in.
I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Both same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Okay, and we're still here for the appointment of the Adjustment and Appeal Board.
I'm not going anywhere. No, just kidding. Yes, this is for adjustment appeals. So recently we had reappointed Todd Horning to serve a continuing term. He is working on a new house, which puts him in the county and out of city limits, and our boards do have the restrictions that you do have to live in the city limits in order to serve on our boards. So with that being said, he will be having to step down in a few months. We had ran an ad and we got another application, one from Chris Wilkinson. He has served on our variance board as well for years. The board met, felt that he would be a good fit for us. There is a letter attached from Rich Maggart, the chair.
I make the motion to appoint Chris Wilkerson.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
All right.
Thank you.
Next item, item number 11. We have an ordinance providing for the appropriation of revenues and expenditures and adopting the budget for the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. This would be the first reading of this ordinance. And it is a lot of numbers to read. So who would like to read this ordinance tonight? Because we do need to, since it is an ordinance, it needs to be read out loud for the first reading as well as the second reading, so the public will be aware of all of its contents. So, anybody? You look like a great candidate. All right, ordinance number 1274. An ordinance providing for the appropriation of revenues and expenditures and adopting the budget for the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lamar, Section 1, the various appropriations for the revenue of the City of Lamar, Colorado to the various expenses and liabilities thereof during the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025 shall be under the following heads: General Fund, E911 Fund, Sales Tax Fund, Conservation Trust Fund, Unemployment Fund, Victim Assistance Fund, Capital Improvement Fund, Lamar Building Finance Corp., Lamar Library Fund, or just the Library Fund, Fairmont Investment Fund, Sanitation Fund, Water and Sewer Fund, Lamar Ambulance Fund, and the Airport Fund. Section 2, the following amounts under the respective funds are hereby appropriated out of the revenue that shall accrue to the city during fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. General Fund of $11,887,405, E911 Fund of $837,480, Sales Tax Fund of $5,717,070, Conservation Trust Fund of $130,000, Unemployment Fund of $10,000, Victim Assistance Fund of $17,750. The Capital Improvement Fund of $3,850,800, Lamar Building Finance Corporation of $1,000, Lamar Library Fund of $37,000, Fairmont Investment Fund of $40,500, Airport Fund of $1,441,802, the Sanitation Fund of $2,504,998, the Water and Sewer Fund of $7,491,472, and Lamar Ambulance Fund of $981,139. Section 3, the budget as follows is hereby adopted for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. General Fund revenue of $11,887,405, expenditures of $11,887,405, revenues over and under expenditures is zero. The total appropriation of the general fund is $11,887,405. E911 Fund, revenues of $837,480, expenditures of $837,480, revenues over and under expenditures of zero. Total appropriation of the E911 Fund is $837,480. Sales Tax Fund, revenues of $5,717,070, expenditures of $5,717,070. Revenues over or under expenditures is zero. Total appropriation for the sales tax fund is $5,717,070. Revenues, including our conservation trust fund, revenues including funds balance used is $130,000. Expenditures of $130,000. Revenues over and under expenditures is zero. Total appropriation for the conservation trust fund is $130,000. Unemployment Fund, revenues including fund balance used of $10,000, expenditures of $10,000, revenues over and under expenditures is zero. Total appropriation for the unemployment fund is $10,000. Victim Assistance Fund, revenues including fund balance used is $17,750, expenditures of $17,750, revenues over and under expenditures is zero. Total appropriation for the Victims Assistance Fund is $17,750. Capital Improvement Fund, revenues including funds balance used of $3,850,800, expenditures of $3,827,600, Revenues over and under expenditures is 23,200. Total appropriation for the capital improvement fund is 3,850,800. Lamar Building Finance Corporation, operating revenue of $1,000, net the operating expenditures of $0, net income and loss is $1,000. Library fund, revenues of $37,000, expenditures of $36,800, revenues over and under the expenditures is $200. Total appropriation for the library fund is $37,000. Fairmont Investment Fund, revenues including the fund's balance used is $40,500. Expenditures is $40,500. Revenues over and under expenditures is $0. Total appropriation of the Fairmont Investment Fund is $40,500. Airport Fund, operating revenue is $725,000. Operating expenditures of $956,496. Net operating income of negative $231,496. Non-operating revenue of $716,802. Non-operating expenditures of $485,306. Net non-operating income of $231,496. Makes a net income loss of $0. Sanitation Fund, operating revenues of $1,696,300, operating expenditures of $1,465,189, net operating income of $231,111. Net operating revenue of $808,698, non-operating expenditures of $1,039,809, net non-operating income of negative $231,110. Brings a net income loss of $0. Water Sewer Fund, operating revenue of $3,479,500, operating expenditures of $2,159,779, net operating income of $1,319,721. Non-operating revenue of $4,011,972, non-operating expenditures of $5,331,693. Net non-operating income of negative $1,319,721 brings a net income loss of $0. Lamar Ambulance Fund, revenues including the fund's balance used of $981,139, expenditures of $981,139, bringing revenues over and under expenditures of $0. Last page, section 4. There is hereby pursuant to Article 11 of Charter, said City of Lamar, Colorado, appropriate from the revenue of the utility boards the sum of $1,698,186. And this would be read in full and possibly passed on the first reading tonight. So we would need a motion to approve it on the first reading now that we've done the first reading.
Move to approve on the first reading.
Second from that. Have a motion and a second to approve on the first reading. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
And this will be at the city clerk's office of the city treasurers. If anybody has questions, is that correct? Because we've already published it.
Except they're invisible or access.
The budgets have been like,
Right, that's what I was saying.
yeah,
So if anybody didn't understand what I was reading, they could ask questions that they.
absolutely.
That's
They,
what I was-
they had a chance at the
Okay.
public hearing.
And at the next meeting, we'll do the second reading for the ordinance to finalize our budget for this year.
Yes, sir.
All right, agenda item number 12, an ordinance to levy and collect taxes in the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. Are you ready for this one? Did you want to talk about that?
This just sets the mill levy at 13.239 mils, which has been that for the last 37.
37 years, we've never increased the mill levy. So that's
And
good.
it's to collect the property taxes within our boundaries. And we are projecting a 14% decrease from 2020.
And the decrease is due to
the new
state
legislation.
Okay. So this is ordinance number 1275, an ordinance to levy and collect taxes in the city of Lamar, Colorado for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lamar, Colorado. Section 1, that for the purpose of meeting all general operating expenses for the City of Lamar, Colorado, Lamar during the 2025 budget year, there is hereby levied a tax of 13.239 mils upon each dollar of the total valuation of, for assessment of all taxable property within the City of Lamar for the year 2024. Section 2, that the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to immediately certify the county to the county commissioners of Broward County, Colorado, the mill levy for the City of Lamar as herein above determined and set. And this would be introduced on the first reading on tonight, if it is approved.
Make a motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this on the first reading. All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
Okay. I have this one here. Yeah. So now we do have the new item that we had added into the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. Looking for my copy of it. This is for the consulting services agreement with Warren Camp, who has been doing this for a while. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And we have Stephanie Strube here to talk about this.
Yes, so the contract that we had with Warren Camp did come due, and I would like to request that we renew his services. Nothing in the contract has changed, only the dates. It is good for 1 year, effective if you guys approve tonight, moving into next year. So it doesn't go on and on. It is done on an annual basis. It is a as needed. It's still a same flat rate of $40 per hour.
Okay. You have any questions, council?
How many hours did we have to consult for him this year?
I have a feeling you were gonna ask that, and I did not look it up before I came in.
Yeah, an estimate or?
I can, it really wasn't
It wasn't
a
very much,
lot. It was below for.
but a couple of times when we need.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. It may not be that often, but there's been a couple of times that it has really been wonderful to have that experience and that knowledge to request, hey, am I seeing this properly? Am I missing something? A different set of eyes with experience.
I'm assuming that when we do have him come in to work, you're right by his side,
Absolutely,
learning as much as you can from him.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess it's under 20 hours a month.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely not a full-time.
I would just say for next year, if you could have those numbers for us when you come.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll get him
I
sent
could,
to
I was
you.
gonna say, I could even email them to you.
Thank you.
to see 'em. Chris, I think Kristen's trying to. pull,
Trying to look
but-
it
You're trying to look it up? Yeah.
With the certifications you've been taking and continued education, how long are we forecasting that we'll need to continue with his services?
Well, less and less.
I know the experience piece is the big.
Yeah, because you don't know what some type of weird situation comes up. I'd like to have that in my pocket, but it would be less and less until you can almost go nothing.
And it's an as needed basis. So.
Yes.
I think probably the
No,
biggest
great.
help is if you're out of town or if you're busy with other, you can always step in as well. Is that correct? Or you can assist.
He probably could. We have not asked him to do those things, other than maybe questions while I'm away, but they still always make sure that I'm involved.
Okay.
So.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, council, would you, oh, you almost got it?
Just almost got it.
Right. 110, 175, and 85. 285 and 85.
370.
110, we paid him 110 on 918, 175, 717, and 85 on 118.
So 370. Yeah.
I'd like to make a
Per
motion to
year.
approve the consultant agreement with Warren Camp and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second you.
Here we have a motion and a second.
Is that Joe or Jerry?
Jerry,
Joe and Jerry.
all those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
9.25 hours.
All right, are there any miscellaneous items that we need to discuss before we move into an executive session? Seeing none, we have two executive sessions. One is legal questions under Colorado Revised Statute 24-6 for own commissions. And then second, we will be receiving meeting with the city attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions under Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6 402, subsection 4, subsection B, regarding ongoing negotiations for a public safety bill. There will be no decisions coming out of these two executive sections, so we will adjourn the meeting directly afterwards. Do we have a motion to move into?
Second.
Yeah, a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Unanimous in favor of?
Our next meeting will be Monday, October 28th.